So if we could get everybody who's been on the panel maybe up for the Q&A, and the Q&A is hosted by Leonard Yong of Shire Biz. Leonard is the Director of Leon Consulting, is specialist in cybersecurity and IT risk management systems, and he's carried out numerous reviews and audits of banking and funds management systems in Sydney, London and New York, so international. He's a chartered accountant with a Master in Accounting Studies, a chartered fellow member of the CPA Australia, and a senior member of the Australian Computer Society and a former counsellor of the Institute of Internal Auditors, New South Wales. I'm now going to hand you over. Here you go, Ben.
Thanks, Karen. A big welcome to guests here. By coming here, you show that you are very interested in cybersecurity, and I'm pleased to welcome all of you here. Now, I'm as Karen had mentioned, I'm the chairman of the Digital Economy Committee for the Shire Biz, as well as the convener of the CPA Cybersecurity Forum. And one of my interests, focus is to start a cybersecurity hub in the Shire, because I feel that there would be people, experts who are here to share the expertise and skills in this particular group. And I really like to say I'm very pleased to welcome you all. Just to recap about the key challenges in cybersecurity. Number one is the digital ID, threat automation, and third party and supply chain risk, as well as Internet of Things and cloud computing. Because I see these are the key areas which need to be very much a focus. So I'd like to open this session by asking the panel, what do you think the companies could do to automate threats hunting in cybersecurity? Like some companies talking about artificial intelligence and so forth. So can you?
Well, you've seen my test results. So.
That's good. We know your phone system's good. I know that. Yeah. Yeah. Look, good opening, and I'm very keen about the whole cybersecurity for. Yeah. AI. I often say it's average intelligence, but look for any businesses, and you got where I went with my presentation. You've got to get the firewall in place that is able to detect and threat management. It's in there, and you know it's working behind the scenes for you.
Yeah, very much in that degree, wholeheartedly, and certainly from the aspect of getting really good virus checkers on your system kept up to date, because the risk is that you don't know what you don't know, but the companies that are out there can actually start detecting trends, and those trends can actually give you an advance warning that something might be happening, and it's that type of advance warning information that then says, okay, do I need to back up? Do I need to do something different before the viruses sneak in and get you?
I suppose I have to agree. I want to be the odd one out. I don't know whether you're aware, but you might have one IP address, but you've got just over 64,000 ports on your computer that could be open at any one time. So with AI, there's a lot of port scanning that goes on that you don't know about. If it detects open ports, well, then it will further hone in on those open ports and look for a way into your system. So I agree with Brad, like the firewall is the first line of defence, so that's probably first and foremost that you really should be looking at. But AI will start this automatic scanning process and definitely be a big impact.
Sorry, I get emails every day, people looking for a quote, they've got an attachment, it might be a building plan, and they're just saying, you know, I want a house set out, can you give me a quote? I don't know who the person is, don't know the address or anything. Someone talked about opening it in a separate computer, a sandpit or something like that. Could you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, it's called sandboxing. So IT can set it up. It's basically a safe environment where you can open something. If you don't have that sort of setup, you could even just save it onto a drive, a USB, and put it into another machine that's not connected, and you can open up that way. Or you can explore virtual machines and open up in a virtual machine. So what a virtual machine is it's something that runs within your physical computer. The bulk of the virus, well, pretty much all the virus, most of the malware can't get out of a virtual machine. So if it destroys that machine completely, it doesn't matter, you just reload another one and start again. But yeah, it's called sandboxing. It's just a way of isolating any possible damage that file could do.
Yep, I totally agree with that, and part of that would be actually making your staff aware, is that when any of these, from a process perspective, here's a new plan from a customer you don't know, this is what we do, so that exactly if anything does go wrong with that particular attachment, at least you've limited your effect.
Hey Brett, Michael DeHaan from DPN. Just a question around that password app. So trying to get those 12 digits, so that's my date of birth twice. So instead of trying to do that, so where would that actually sit? So I'd need that, I'm out on the road, I'd need that on my phone, I'd need it on the laptop. And is it safe having that sort of password app? I'm forgetting mine all the time. I forget my date of birth.
What's your date of birth, David? Yes, so the password app, depending on which software that you use, yes, they are safe. You've got to buy a reputable one, not one that is a disguise threat as well. But buy it reputable, and generally they've got an app that sits across your platforms. And as long as you're logged in as you, it suggests the passwords and already pre-populates the passwords. So what that means is that on your phone, you've got the fingerprint to open it up. Just make sure you just don't have your phone always accessible. It's got to always lock again, because someone grabs your phone or chops off your finger and puts it on there, they get access, right? I know, a bit extreme, sorry, but it gets access. So the apps are there and they're available. I know I think Chrome at the moment has something for me, and it's suggesting my password, so my logins and my passwords as well, which is a little bit annoying sometimes, but it's good for those ones that I don't have to try and remember the 12 digits.
John, can I just ask you a question about those grants? Like, what sort of output do we need to prove to when we trying to get those grants?
As I said, it's pretty straightforward. The criteria were there, and I would say most small businesses with an ABN will qualify for the grants. I'm not sure, I don't believe there's a program for larger businesses at the moment, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was something that the government looked at.
I guess 2 questions. The first is the grant program eligible to pay for training for staff? No. And then the second question is, as a small business owner, developing that content and training my staff could be quite onerous. Are there any, off-the-shelf products or training or free programs that you'd recommend putting employees through to bring them up to the level to reduce this threat? Does that make sense?
Yeah, as far as staff training and processes go, I believe this grant is just for the process of recommending what you do, but I'll certainly have a look, and I was going to ask if these presentations could be distributed to, So when I do that, I'll have a look and see if there are any programs for staff training, or are there any government sites that might be relevant, and I'll include that in the email.
I'll disclose I'm from TAFE and
Yeah.
we do this training.
You do?
But I was wondering for other small businesses what...
No, that's great. Well, if you can send me the details, then I can include that in the link that we send out. That's great. Thank you.
My question is for computer phoneware when you're disposing of it. How should you dispose of computer, phones, laptops, iPads, and that?
Thanks so much. Yep, disposing of computers, just like to suggest anything like any other fixed asset. And so if you dispose of your car, make sure that the boot's emptied, the glove box emptied, and all the rest of it. With computers, very much the same thing as well. So you'll get companies who will actually give you a certificate that they've actually scrubbed the hard drive, removed all the data from the computer, and completely, made it inert. So from a company perspective, it's again same thing. Like when you want to sell a computer, there's a process in place to actually make it happen. And again, that's education and training. And whether it be a mobile phone or a USB or a computer, it's an asset of your company. How are you going to dispose of it? And then the cost of actually doing that would be tax deductible, I'm pretty sure.
Just with regards to hard drives, USBs, any sort of media storage device, what we do is there is actually, no matter how many times you format it, erase it, overwrite it, theoretically there's still a possible way of retrieving data. So the only way we do it is you put a hammer through it, you just destroy it.
Another one as well that I always look at as well is if any of your printers are under lease agreements, because the actual printers can actually store a lot of your printed data in a hard drive within the printer itself, and they get sometimes overlooked. So when the printer actually goes as well and it's on lease, again, your leasing company really got to get confirmed to the leasing company that, yeah, they're going to scrub that hard drive as well.
I didn't know that about printers. Oh my God. That's incredible. When I did a lot of billing record destruction for the telcos, we followed similar to what Glenn said, we followed a defence mechanism, the defence requirement. We had to pull the hard drives out, get them chipped up, and then they were used as into cement. It went into like the fill of cement, that was for defence. But the important thing is when we're destroying that or destructing or removing, it's ask the service provider to give you that information that it's been properly disposed of correctly. They've got the ability to do it. It's not a mystery to them to be able to scrub it and to fill it with zeros, or if you like to destroy technology, put a hammer through it. It's good fun.
My question is for Glenn. We investigate fraud quite a lot, and cyber fraud is obviously on the increase. You mentioned something in your presentation that unless the individual that's involved in the actual orchestration of the cyber attack is domiciled here, you have no power of arrest, you have no power to prosecute. What's the New South Wales Police and the broader police community in Australia doing, given that we are the number 3, or one of the top 3, what are we doing internationally to, chase these bastards and put them away, destroy them, put a hammer through them?
Well, we're obviously landlocked by New South Wales legislation, so when we do, and if we do manage, there's a lot of ways to hide identity, as you know, over the internet. If we do manage to find someone, we will reach out to overseas jurisdictions and say, hey, we've got this bloke, here's what we have. But really we are relying on them to take action on our behalf. Yes, there could be extradition. You could apply for extradition, but that's not an easy thing. And a lot of the countries that you find, where we do find these people, we don't have extradition treaties. There's a lot of them are state-sponsored, so of course they're not going to be too bothered about taking action. So it's a very frustrating thing. That's what I said before. It's all about mitigation. It's all about education, awareness and prevention. If we can stop it at the front door, we won't go through that whole process when we ultimately we're going to end up and go, oh, look, we know where it is. We have one at the moment where it was a $2.4 million that was taken out of a New South Wales victim. But we have IP addresses that resolve to Dublin, to South Africa, and to another country. And they're just using VPNs, virtual servers. And so to even trying to find them is all but impossible. But yeah, unfortunately, we're stuck. We can't. There's really not much we can do. Because once you start even to try and take some sort of cyber action against them, you're effectively committing crimes in another country, by maybe trying to disrupt them by sending them something. Not that we would ever do that, but you're committing crime somewhere else, so you've got to bear that in mind as well.
A lot of the home-based computer systems run through NBN, and your phone runs through NBN. How secure is the phone? Because around your house, it's going by Wi-Fi, and then it's going through the NBN. How secure is that?
Yeah, good question. So NBN's not secure. It's like a highway. It just provides you the connectivity. So don't be thinking NBN's out there protecting you. It's not. It just gives you the connectivity. So if everyone's okay with that concept, it's the what I mentioned before is on your phone. Make sure that you've got a service provider. You're not setting it up yourself generally, but if you are setting it up yourself, you're not using the default passwords. You've got to change those passwords because they're very vulnerable to an attack.
Please, a big thank you to our panel and speakers today, and thanks everyone for attending. Once again, love you to have you join us if you're not already a member of the Sutherland Shire Business Chamber, and I'm just going to hand you over to Richard from Shire Biz to do another final closing.
Thank you very much. I'm Richard Walker. I'm the Secretary of Shire Biz. Shire Biz is a business-driven economic development committee that was established about 6 or 7 years ago. Its main aim is to provide jobs for people in the Shire, and particularly for higher level jobs if we can. We've been working on getting ANSTO to their present state for about 6 years, and it's finally developed their innovation precinct, and we hope that will provide, with their technology park, a number of advanced technology jobs for the users of Shire. Not so much for us, we're a bit past that maybe. We also have involved ourselves in transport, as well as trying to get a hotel at Cronulla. So I would like, on behalf of Shire Biz, who's a joint sponsor of this event, to thank you all for coming and to thank the speakers for their presentations. And on our website, we had a similar program last year, so all the presentations are there at the moment, and I gather that we'll put the presentations from this one on it. So if you want to find out a lot about cybersecurity, if you haven't got already, just visit both our websites. So thank you very much for coming. And one other thing, Malcolm Kerr here has asked me to mention that if you're interested in blockchain, there is a meeting at the Tattersalls Club next week to talk about blockchain. So if anyone's interested, Malcolm Kerr, you might put your hand up. He'll be able to tell you all about it. So thank you very much for attending, and best wishes for the day.